are the things I was taught were like nasty and bad and scary, and the ocean's gonna kill you because there's sharks, and
Mm-hmm.
the waves will take you, and the spiders and snakes outside, and all the things like nature in general, like I considered bad, which
Mm-hmm.
makes no sense to me now. But I love and I understand that that was my experience,
Mm-hmm.
because then I couldn't go outside and be so excited to be outside again. If I just always was excited, it might become stale, right? I don't think it ever will, but because I was so far away from it, it became so magical when I came back. So I guess my childlike wonder is nature, is play when it comes to music as well. And I'm kind of thankful for the boxes in a way, because then they
Mm-hmm.
remind me to get out of them.
Welcome to the Bridge Podcast, a podcast featuring heart centered leaders, artists, healers, speakers, and creatives who are leading a new paradigm through their own personal embodiment. Join us to explore the evolution of humanity that we see happening on our planet and how the intersection of art and humanity may be the key to having a new experience on Earth, as we individually and collectively choose to align with a greater peace, unity, harmony, and unconditional love in our everyday lives. Together, we will explore inspiring, insightful, and healing conversations that tap us into the artist within, empower us to be the conscious creators of our reality, and amplify the world we want to see by coming home to our own divinity. Let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the Bridge Podcast. I'm so excited that you're here. Today's episode is going to be so fun. Bianca and I sat down to talk about all things artistry, embodiment, music, nature, love, and healing, and I just love her energy. So I really hope that you love this episode as much as I love to record it with her. Bianca and I connected on social media within the last couple of years, and we've been connecting ever since. And when the time came for us to do a podcast, it was so much fun to sit down together and really dive into these topics deeper and share in this energy together. So I know that there is so much value that you're going to get out of this episode, and we would love to hear what you do get out of it if you listen. In this episode, we talk about exploring our authentic artistry and the catharsis of making our art, the important role of inner child healing, how turning your story into art can transform your identity, the power of embodiment, self-love, and self-care in alchemizing your story and reclaiming your narrative in life. We also discuss the beauty and value of finding pleasure, inspiration, and connection in the simple magic of every day, prioritizing our connection to nature, the beauty of healing being a journey, not a rush or destination, the exciting evolution of her passion for and transformation with music, and her journey of discovering and stepping into that bitch energy. Bianca is a musician, songwriter, embodiment coach, podcast host, entrepreneur, and visionary dedicated to self-expression and empowerment. Through her music, she channels raw emotion into sound, crafting songs that resonate on a deep level. As an embodiment coach, she guides others in reconnecting with their bodies and emotions, helping them move through life with confidence and authenticity. She also hosts That Bitch Energy podcast, where she shares insights on self-discovery, healing, and living boldly. Bianca's work is a fusion of artistry and transformation, inspiring others to step into their power. If that doesn't make you excited for this episode, I don't know what will. We're so glad that you're here, and we hope you enjoy this episode. Let's dive in. Welcome, Bianca, to the Bridge Podcast. I could not be more excited to have you here today. You are such a light. You're so inspiring. Every time that I come on social media and I see your page, it just reminds me to be authentic. And it reminds me of the power of our heart, the power of our creativity. Anything that you share is just such a reminder to everybody to be themselves. And I'm so grateful that you said yes to come on here and share some of your journey and let us in a little bit. And I'm so excited to see what you share today, and just I'm grateful to know you. So, to start this off, I would love to hear where you started and how you kind of got to where you are today. Give us a little overview of where you came from, what your journey's been like, and how you came to be who you are.
Oh, beautiful introduction. And I'm so glad. I'll just start with saying I'm so glad to be here. I feel just as honored. I feel just as grateful to be in your space, to be on the bridge, talking with you, getting to share, this beautiful space with you is very, very, I feel privileged and grateful. So I'll start there. And thank you for introducing me. Whew, it's always a hard one to start on talking about my journey because it's like I was born and then what happened after that? It's always hard. It's like, oh shoot, oh shit.
Yeah.
Um, so if I can think of just the earliest days, I will say my upbringing was, in my opinion, had a lot of ups and downs, as anyone's, I'm sure, could say similar ups and downs. But I do believe that the hardships and the traumas, and I grew up with an alcoholic dad. I grew up, my mom wasn't around. She was a single mom
Mm.
who was also on her journey of figuring things out for her. And so I think that led me to be an extremely empathic person. I had to kind of grow up pretty quickly to where I had to raise myself and kind of teach myself lessons and figure out life, what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be pretty early on as I was kind of normally fending for myself, like eating like I'm trying to think, like cereal and milk. Like I had to really just like feed
Yeah.
myself and in the mornings and then decide what I was gonna wear, brush my teeth. Like for a while I honestly didn't brush my teeth. I know it sounds really sad, but I'm like no one had showed me to like brush my teeth.
Mhm.
So so it's just little things like that that have created me today, that it's like I want to play. I want to allow myself to play because I feel like I did grow up so quickly, and
Mm.
that so now my adulthood self is like, girl, you can play. Like you're safe. You are here. You are confident. You are able. You make your own money. You pay your
Yeah.
own bills. Like, and I'm not saying that's like the end all be all for everyone. Like if that's not the goals that you have for yourself, that's okay too. But for me, I
Mhm.
wanted to really be independent and be able to take care of myself, but also give myself space to play, to be
Yes.
authentically me, to also be a voice for someone who I needed 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right.
And to also just show up with the most love, even with the traumas I faced, even with the
Mhm.
hardships I faced. And so I don't think I went into too much detail on like what I faced, but some of it I think was so worth it to be who I am today.
We can get there.
Yeah, I'm like if I deep dive, I'll get lost.
I
So
know.
so the quick I guess overview of it, or skim of it, was my traumas made me who I am today, which
Mhm.
ultimately led me to music. That was my self-soothing. And yeah, I would say that's pretty much the gist of how I got here. There's so much more, and I hope I answered that correctly.
Oh my God, there is no correct way. There is just authentic. And that was so beautifully said and summed up for us. And there's so much in there that I would love to go into. And I want to start with the inner child and the play and that journey. And we can even go right into some of the traumas if that comes up right now. I'm so curious because we all have such unique journeys, and I believe on a soul level, we choose certain things so that we can come and have the experience, we can have the contrast, and we can come into the potential of who we can become and all the things that we can do that light us up in this world. And going through those challenges is also what colors those experiences, right? It brings that fulfillment. It feels different when you've kind of gone through something to get there. And especially when you didn't have something and then you create it for yourself as an adult. And so I would love to know your perspective or your experience on kind of that reparenting the inner child, like some of the details to what you struggled with, or the challenges coming into the embodiment of this incredible being that you are now, and the magic and the play that you give yourself permission to experience, which I think a lot of people have a really hard time doing. So, can you speak into that a little bit from your perspective?
Oh, absolutely. So when I think of like the hardest, well, I don't even think I was ever really in touch with my body. It was all thoughts. It was all
Mhm.
anxiety, depression, how to numb the pain and never feel it. It was like, feel the body. What is that? That's the last thing I want. That was my life, how I lived from when I can recall. I don't even remember a time where I was like confident in who I was as a body.
Mhm.
Like I don't remember the time until now, right? Like but in the beginning. So I really I don't even remember the first instance of feeling embodied, but I do believe it had to have been when I was writing music and performing.
Mm.
And I feel like if I hadn't found my way to music, which was ultimately a self-soothing, which I didn't realize I was doing until I look at it now and I'm like, oh, girl, that's what you've been doing this whole time. That's why you were in your room listening to music. That's why you had your headphones on. You're like closing your eyes. Like that was what made you feel comfortable. That was my comfort. That was my soothing. And so I don't remember the first time, but I know that it was really hard to tune in because it was hard. It was my coping mechanism to get through my childhood and not be depressed and wanting to die at all times. It was kind of like, don't think about your body because your body is ultimately not feeling well, is not happy, is depressed, is
Mm.
or maybe I should say my mind, but because I wasn't dealing with that depression and the
Mhm.
anxiety and the being alone and the abandonment wounds, and I wasn't actually facing them, I was hiding them. So being in my body was like, this is too much. This is too much. And
Mhm.
so as I got older, I feel like I could really hold myself and parent myself with the right tools, which,
Mhm.
I've taken courses, I've gone through therapy and coaching, and, I was held comfortably by people. I think that's so important.
Mhm.
If it's unsafe to feel in your body, then find someone you can feel safe with or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a person, maybe it's in water and like you can scream and like and swim hardcore in water, or
Yeah.
jumping in a cold lake, like getting your body thrusted in cold into the chill.
Mhm.
Maybe that's your way of doing it if you don't have the means to get a coach or a therapist, because I think that is a privilege as well.
Mhm.
I recognize that. And so I guess, it was when I had those little winks or glimpses of being peaceful in my body when I was writing, when I was singing, when I was performing, that I realized, oh, that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
That there, like, how can I get more of that? And then I found this whole community online of embodied individuals and spirituality and meditation and yoga and breathing. And so
Yeah.
when I found all this along with coaching and therapy, my life changed and it was really hard. There was a lot of crying, a lot of screaming. I've done rage rituals, if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
I love rage rituals and I think
So
everyone should
good.
try it. So everyone should
Yeah.
just try it. I know it seems like, whoa, she cray cray, but maybe she is cray cray and that's why we're doing it. So
Yeah.
um that's kind of a little bit of my journey and how I have moved through it, is really finding
Mhm.
comfortable spaces and honestly allowing the joy come through first in my body. I feel like going straight to the pain can be really, really tough. So if I would give any advice, it'd be go find something you can embody that brings you joy. Even if you're
Yes.
not in joy, even if you're pissed off and you're like, I don't want to feel the pissed off in my body or the anger in my body right now, which I think you should eventually, but if it's not safe, if it's not safe to start with the joy. Go if you know you love to paint or even to doodle or
Mhm.
whatever you have accessible to you right now. It could be on your phone, it could be the notes where you can draw on there. If you don't have paper and pen, going on a walk, going out into nature, that's helped me
Mhm.
a lot. And so I guess I like to say do the easiest one, which would be joy. Or
Mhm.
if it's not joy, if you can't find the joy in things, just stillness.
Mhm.
Just start there. And I think that is what can help every single one of us get in tune with our body and really start
Yeah.
listening to our home, which is our body.
Yes. So one of the reasons that I even started this podcast is to look at this light beaming in right now. And
Divine.
let's go spotlight. It's that Leo full moon. The reason is because one of the biggest things that I've learned on my journey, and it's like the key that I come back to all the time, is it's all about frequency. It's all about the choice that we make for how we want to feel and our relationship to our emotions and our life and where we're deciding everything from, because that's what's creating your life experience, right? And that's obviously the mind, body, soul connection. It's all of the pieces living in harmony, flowing in harmony, coming from that space of wholeness. But there's a lot of deep dive inner work and healing work that has to happen. And to choose to know that you want to experience joy. And for somebody, it might be peace, or for somebody, it might be stability, and it can change. But to be clear on what you want to feel and what you want to experience is the first step, because then it's like, well, what makes me feel that way? And you just start there. And one thing that you mentioned that was a brilliant a brilliant reminder for anybody listening to this. If you don't feel like you're safe to process something, or your environment or the people you're around, or even your own being at the time is not a safe space to really open something up, then honor that. It is so important to honor that and to trust that
Mhm.
and to know that the soul's not in a rush. I've really learned that too, that I do not have to push or force myself to heal things or face things or change things, even if people around me are trying to get me to do that. It's kind of like this experience of, where does my field end and their projections begin, and learning to unravel ourselves from what family or anybody has kind of put on to us or said that we took on without knowing that, and then
Mhm.
rewriting all those stories with our inner children, with our inner teen, with all these parts of ourselves, so that we actually become that safe space for ourselves. We can connect into the universe in our own unique path, and we can also create the space and the life that feels the most true for us and actually honors who we want to be. And it's so important. So I love that you brought that little piece up, because just do the next thing. Do the next thing that you can access, and don't feel like you have to rush your healing, because sometimes things take time. Sometimes there's a better moment to do what you can. So I'm glad that we touched on that too. Thank you for sharing that piece. I kind of want to bring in, if you want to, I would love to touch on masculine, feminine energy a little bit. Do you have a relationship with masculine, feminine energy within yourself, or how you've come to connect to those and express those in your life, or how that came to be with your family dynamics? Like, how have you learned about your own masculine, feminine, and how has that helped you in life?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk on the masculine and feminine balance within. I feel like that's so important for a good normal or I don't want to say normal, sorry, that word, take that out. Everyone never say normal. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, there is no normal. Yeah, I think it's necessary to have a whole full life is to be in balance. And before I go on that, I do want to say thank you for naming that healing is not rushed. And healing is there's not a timeline. We're on our own timelines.
Hmm.
And I wanted to almost like breathe into like time. There's no rush. And I feel like I needed to like land in my heart right now.
Hmm.
Mm, that there is no rushed healing. There is no rush. You're right on time.
Hmm.
I almost just felt like I needed to name that because you said that. So thank you for saying that.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, we needed that.
Yeah, because sometimes I can be like, "Ugh,"
Yeah.
my energy is just like bouncy because I feel like I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that.
Yeah.
And I need to check that list off. I need to check that off of the list. And so just knowing we're not in a rush, that was
Hmm.
just beautiful. So I appreciate that. And
I
my
love that.
masculine, yeah, and my masculine and feminine energy, I feel like my whole life I've been dabbling into both and I didn't really know I was doing it consciously. I was just kind of going with the flow because
Hmm.
even with my like outfits and even with like my songwriting and even with my art and it tends to go masculine feminine. It kind of goes back and forth and I allow it in and I feel like I grew up where you needed to be very, very feminine to be like a good girl, like
Hmm.
be quiet. And I say feminine, I mean like the feminine traits that were kind of societal, right? Like what
Yeah.
they say, this means to be femme.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like for maybe when I was younger, it did have me distort my thoughts on myself. Like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, or I'm not, or am I woman enough, or am I girl enough? And so I think as I get older and I started creating art, that really helped me be in touch with my masculine and feminine. And I feel like I really have to tune into my masculine when it comes to getting stuff done because my feminine wants to like flow and never follow any structure ever. And I can really tune in with her, girl. I'm like, thanks,
Yeah.
girl. I
Right.
woke up I woke up at this time today instead of like strategic,
Mm-hmm.
consistent scheduling. But then there are times I'm like, no, I really want to stick to it because I know that the consistency here is going to actually help me succeed in this area of my life. And I feel like really figuring out and trying new things, like maybe doing the structured timeline or whatever in art isn't going to work for you, but the feminine will, like being more flow, go with the flow when it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I feel like I need to strategically show up to doing my art or else I'll never do it. Like it'll just be like, she'll come around. But if
Mm-hmm.
I'm consistently showing up, allowing my masculine energy to take me there, then the feminine can feel comfortable to flow. So I guess in terms of art, I'm more connected with my masculine feminine. But when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
other things, I could work on it. I'm glad you
Oh, I
brought it
love
up.
that.
I'm glad you brought it up because your girl could work on it, especially when it comes to like having free time. It's like she
Mm.
just like I'm really easy to get stuck in the scrolling and putting Netflix on, and I feel like that's my I mean, I don't want to say it's feminine for everyone. It could be that could be them and their masculine, but for me that feels like
Mm-hmm.
my feminine is taking over and she's really just going with the flow and I'm like, well, but it wasn't getting me anywhere, so I need to kind of tune back into my masculine a little bit. So I want to hear what
Mm.
you think about your masculine and feminine energy as well.
Yeah, well, this is a deep topic. It can go so many places, and I
Yes.
love what you shared. And I also love that you said many times that it could be this for somebody, it could be something totally different. And that is like the key because masculine, feminine energy from like the macro level, I like to describe it as, or the way I connect with it is like the universe is the space. And then earth and life and our humanness and our experience is the feminine, it's where the experience of life that happens within that container.
Mhm.
And so we can kind of apply that to any experience in life in so many ways. And we create our own association, and things can shift and change so much. And we can have very different dynamics as to what examples we had of those energies and whether they were healthy or unhealthy expressions. So there's so many layers to it. For me, my what I know through my numerology is that my mind is very masculine. It's a one. So the way that I connect to things is by connecting into that universal oneness, connecting into a higher perspective, giving myself that clarity of the frequency that matters to me, which is that essentially one love, that unity consciousness. That is when I feel the most balanced and able to exist as a human, exist in whatever I'm feeling inspired or called to do. I feel safe in that context because to me, that's God. That's good, orderly direction. It's spirit, it's the divine. I feel connected to everything. And then I get to explore my own unique expression within that because just like I am, everybody is a unique extension of that source energy. And so we get to essentially be the artist of our life. We are artists no matter what we're doing. And the way that we connect into the masculine feminine dynamics. For me, I'm actually a lot more feminine in the way that I approach my life. It's maybe the Cancer rising or the Aquarius stubbornness, or I don't know what it is, probably a lot of things, but I'm so intuition first. It has to be a yes. I won't do a no. I won't let anybody else tell me what to do. I have to listen to my own clarity, which is a superpower, but it's taken me a long time to get there and to really master that and give myself permission to live within that too. But that is when I feel the safest to exist. And I love what you said about the music and how for that you need to give yourself that consistency to show up. Otherwise, you just may not do it. Like I could bring a little bit of that energy into my life for sure because even with music, with creating, with art, with taking action towards my more artistic dreams in the entertainment realms, I need a bit more of that action. I need a bit more of that consistency of just doing it versus waiting until it feels right. I mean, they go together, they really do, but you can lean on one or the other to strengthen a
Mhm.
space that you might be weaker in. And I can definitely relate to that. And when it comes to relationships, podcasting, anything that involves relationship to another human being, which is like a lot of life, I'm very used to being in that masculine, being in that truth, being in the, I don't want to say mental space in a negative way, but the just the mental space of seeing the bigger picture, being a guide, being a leader, being that support for others versus being in my vulnerability, being in my feminine, actually having an experience and letting people into it. Like that is where I'm needing to lean into my feminine. So, of course, the podcast is a beautiful balance for me to come into that harmony myself because every single time I show up and with a new person, there's a different dynamic. And so I get to play with that relationship with my own inner union essentially and how that kind of flows with another person. So that's what came through right now, but it's a great topic that can go so many places. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm still
Yeah.
learning like all
Yeah.
about what it means and what yeah, I'm just learning about every all of it when it comes to the masculine and the feminine coming together and I feel like it's definitely necessary to be in touch with, in tune with and aware of
Hmm.
um because we can easily allow what we heard or were taught or societal conditionings, we can easily allow that in and let that control us and make us someone we're not and or make us, not like the things that might be who we are. And maybe we are more masculine in a sense or more feminine in a different circumstance and that's okay. I feel like everyone, male, female, them, they, however you identify, we all have
Hmm.
bits of both. And I feel like
Yeah.
just talking about it is a win.
Yeah.
So I think just starting there is a win. And
Yeah.
but I definitely could dive deep into more into that, I think.
Yeah. Well, maybe part two.
Yes, yes. She's gonna
Yeah.
come back with her notes, baby.
Yeah, that's right. Part two, part three, part four, we're coming. Yeah, and I wanted that was kind of percolating in my field too, because the non-binary community, that there's so many expressions that we can have as humans, and to connect that into the masculine, feminine, I just want to say no matter who you are or what you resonate with, you don't even have to use the words masculine, feminine. You don't have to use anything unless that feels like a supportive association, like something you resonate with. That is one way to me to bring that unconditional love, that unity consciousness to the planet is to actually come into that embodiment myself of seeing and feeling and living in harmony with that, being able to see the divinity in everybody, no matter what they resonate with, no matter what they associate with, what they choose for themselves, because it's none of my business, first of all. Let people live their best life. And second, there's always something for you to learn, which is going to segue into my next question or topic point, because I would love to hear your perspective on this childlike wonder and curiosity and being a forever learner. And how has that touched your life, or do you resonate with that? Because that's something that is deeply important to me. And I think a skill of mine, like I always am curious. I always have that wonder and that awe and that inspiration with life. And I just always want to keep learning, which has helped me spiritually evolve so much. And then it's also supported my human when I've gone through the really big shifts where when you expand a lot, you go through a contraction and your body goes through this death and rebirth, this transformation, and all of these old things that were programmed in that are not aligned with that love have to leave. Like they have to dissolve and
Mhm.
transform, right? So I'm curious if any of that resonates and where that being a forever student or that humility of just kind of being a student of love per se, which that topic really inspires for me. So I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, I love talking about the inner child and like the childlike wonder and play. And I feel like kind of going back to what brought me here, everyone, no matter the story, the upbringing, how great, how bad, how whatever, maybe you don't even think about your inner child. I think there's always a moment of play we didn't get to do, or maybe we were
Mhm.
too embarrassed or too shy, or maybe we want to redo that part. We're like maybe we were playing with someone and then we like fell and then got made fun of and then we never did that again. It's like it could be so the story could be just like the one I just said where you fell and it's like, oh, from then on I'm never doing that. It's
Yeah.
like, well, maybe that was exactly what you wanted and needed as a child to play and to release whatever energy it was that you were needing to release. Because I believe our bodies, why else are we playing?
Yeah.
Why else do we move and why else do we eat and all of it
Yeah.
is the human experience.
Yeah.
We've got to allow, flow, play, and even allow for the feelings that we consider not good, which is like be angry and be sad. And I feel like all of that is the inner child wonder. And as we get older, we're kind of conditioned to like sit down, girl, be quiet, or whoever, like it doesn't have to be girl. Just fall in line. You belong there, you belong there, you belong there. And like don't be wild, don't be free. At least that's how I feel like that was a common thing that was
Mm-hmm.
showing up for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's that I noticed everyone was just like, okay, we're just gonna be this way, and we're not gonna complain about it. We're just gonna be this way. But it's like I don't feel like I can't have that. I can't have that, girlfriend. I need to get out there. I need to move my
Mm-hmm.
body. I need my arms to be flung. I need my butt shaking. I need to twerk. I need to get
Yeah.
dirty and be okay
Mm-hmm.
with it.
Yeah.
I feel like if we aren't getting dirty, like that's such a, there were years I would never have touched like sand, dirt, trees, and I was the most miserable and sad. And that
Mm.
might not be the case for someone else. Maybe they don't need that stuff. But I realize now that I'm free, when I'm free in the sand and I go to the beach and I get sand in my bathing suit bottoms, it's okay. And I get sand between my toes and my butt cheeks and whatever. It's like are the things I was taught were like nasty and bad and scary, and the ocean's gonna kill you because there's sharks, and or
Mm-hmm.
what the waves will take you, and the spiders and snakes outside and all the things like nature in general, like I considered bad, which
Mm-hmm.
makes no sense to me now. But but I love and I understand that that was my experience,
Mm-hmm.
because then I couldn't go outside and be so excited to be outside again.
Mm-hmm.
If I just always was excited, it might become stale, right? I don't think it ever will, but because I was so far away from it, it became so magical when I came back. So
Mm-hmm.
so I guess my childlike wonder is nature, is play when it comes to music as well. And I'm kind of thankful for the boxes in a way, because then they
Mm-hmm.
remind me to get out of them.
Yes.
So
Amen
so
to that.
yeah.
The contrast, it serves us when we can see it through that lens of possibility of being curious. What does this, have to teach me or show me right now? And sometimes we just need that wake up call. And nature is such an amazing teacher. Nature just exists. One of my favorite quotes is, nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished, which is going back to our not rushing note. And also, there's just infinite things to learn about nature. It's a complete mirror into life, and we are so deeply connected to it. And that's its whole own medicine right there. My like favorite movie and musical is Frozen, and I identify as Elsa on a soul level. So her
Yeah.
relation, right? Her
Go
relationship
off.
to the elements is something that has been really a guide for me too, to connect to that spirit world, to connect to the elements, to connect into my own power to be in tune with that and to co-create with life. And that's a whole other conversation, but student, teacher, all of it, we get to be in harmony with nature, and it's the best. Were you always this confident? Were you always like, I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna be weird and wild and free? And did you always feel comfortable to be seen in that way? I would love to hear your confidence journey, especially when it comes to music and sharing your kind of inner world with everybody else. Have you always felt like that was easy for you?
No, nope, definitely not.
Nope.
No, just no. And because I was so afraid that if someone knew me, they'd leave me, like my abandonment wound.
Mm,
If they really knew who I was, if they really saw me, I'm too much. I'm too, and these are quotes of like
too much.
yeah,
Hmm.
what I used to say. I no longer accept these sentences. They do try and make their way in. And I'm like, girl, thank you for showing up and you can go now.
Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. And so we let her come, but we let her say her piece, and then I just let her go when she comes.
Mm,
But yeah, no, there was a lot of self-doubt, a lot of not confidence
mhm,
in me when I mean, I didn't even sing in front of people. Like they had to be my best friend or my mom or
mhm,
someone,
mhm,
my siblings. But I didn't sing in front of people until I think I was about 8. I did do one audition. Okay, wait, let me rewind because when I was really young, my mom was like, "You got it, girl. We're gonna go. We're gonna sing." This is when we lived with my mom and dad together.
mm,
And so I did this performance. But then when they split, that was when, the abandonment wound, all these things. So after that, I didn't sing again from like, I don't know, 6 years old to like 18. Like
mhm,
the childlike confidence went away because
mhm.
life happens, right?
Right.
And my sister, we like, don't go do this if you're underage. Snuck me into a bar. I was 18. I was not allowed to be there. You had to be 21. And I wasn't drinking, but there was a karaoke night. So she was like, "We're going. I'm sneaking you in so you can sing at karaoke night." She was like, "I love how you sing." Da 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 da. Da. So I sang. I went up there and I literally froze. No one
Oh.
was even looking at me. No one was even looking, but my sister like this. And I was like,
Oh
"I
my
can't
gosh.
sing. I cannot sing in front of these people." And then the DJ was like, and then just like turned the song off and was like, "Okay,
Mm,
sorry, have a good day or whatever." And then I ran back and I was like, "No, give me the mic." Like I'm going to do this song. And I think from then on you couldn't take the mic from me. I mean,
mhm,
you could. I'm just being funny, but singing is so comfortable and
mhm,
I shouldn't say singing is comfortable always. I
mm,
feel like there are scenarios that I'm just not interested. But when I do cultivate or create a space for myself, like a show, like setting up
mhm,
a show date, that confidence, I have to tune in to the confidence. It's not just
mhm,
always around. I have to meditate. I have to tune into my body. I have to listen to what my body's feeling. I also do have to rehearse to, if anxiety does come up,
mhm,
that the rehearsal, the muscle memory is going to take over. So I feel like that's my masculine. Going back to that is like making myself do the setting up a structured rehearsal date or time before that
mhm.
show really sets up for the feminine to flow in that moment when I'm performing. Yeah, and so I think I got lost. I got lost. Your
Just
girl was flowing.
being confident,
Yeah.
expressing yourself, being seen, your artist journey, all of it. I mean, yeah, I was wanting to know what helps you with your confidence and how you kind of get into alignment with yourself and also
Yeah.
what inspires you to do that and to continue showing up. If there's anything you want to add to that piece too, like why is that important to you?
Yeah, why is it important to create? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, to create, to show up, to live your dreams for you.
That is my form of inner child healing. That is my form of self-love. That is, I think it's like literally the highest divine source consciousness
Mm,
in me, allowing it to I'm the channel. Like that's when I feel like I'm channeling, and I feel like that is a magical honor to have that option. Like I think everyone has their gift, that the divine, whatever your higher, whatever you call it, God, source, goddess, everyone has their own thing that channels, that where the higher self, the truest self, divine consciousness channels through them. And I feel like for me it's music, and I have to share that. If I don't, it almost feels like a disservice to not
Yeah.
only myself but the world. And so I do show up because I do believe we all have a job here, and it's to channel that source and to truly just tune into it and be authentically ourselves. And to me, that is music,
Mhm.
creating music.
Yeah, you said that so beautifully. I love that and resonate with every word. And we are all channels, and we're here to feel alive and to enjoy our life. And yeah, we're learning and growing, and we're going through that evolutionary process because we may not pop out and enter the life that we dream of, but that's part of the journey of coming
Mhm.
into the life that you dream of. And, you know, who you were or what you went through is really of service to that. And when we can see it that way and be the alchemist that gets to go, okay, what is it that I want and how do I get there? And the journey gets to be beautiful too. And I think you're such a beautiful example of that and such an amazing artist in all the ways. And I'm just excited to see what you continue doing in all
You
of
too,
the
you too.
beautiful things. Can you tell us, before we kind of wrap things up, I would love to know, because you have a podcast, and I want to know, what is your that bitch ritual? How do you get yourself into that space? Where did that birth from? And how did you come to be that bitch? And why is that your podcast title? And just tell us a little bit about um, you and how people can connect with you also, because you have some really amazing things going on.
I want to say I feel the same likewise about you, and I want to
Oh.
continue to see you. And so, but I don't want to get off topic. So, but off topic's cool too. And
We come
your
back.
girl, sometimes I'm so in the flow that I'm like, come hone back in, hone back in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that bitch, I wrote a song called That Bitch, and I loved tuning into her
Mm,
because she was not existent or she was always there.
yeah.
And I wasn't allowing myself to tune in with her, which I believe is source consciousness, God, divine,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, put your
Mm-hmm.
title there.
Mm-hmm.
Truest form, truest self, your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was writing the song That Bitch, I could feel myself uncomfortable, feeling like, why am I gonna sing that? Why this seems so egotistical. This
Mm,
seems, all the insecurities, write it right here. All of that. I felt that in writing the song. And it was actually a whole you said alchemize earlier. I was alchemizing the thoughts of the words that bitch. Also, the word bitch is tend to used to be used negatively towards women, and I feel like I allowed that to control who I thought I was and my worth.
mm-hmm.
And so I was also alchemizing the word itself, what it means to me. And while I was writing the song, alchemizing the word, which is kind of how it started, the word, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, this word is ours. Like, we can take it, we can own it, and we can use it as our power rather than a negative and like you're talking down to me with that word.
Mm-hmm.
I was also changing how I think about myself, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing when I was doing it until I did it. And I was like, girl,
Yeah.
you're alchemizing your whole life actually with writing just a
Yeah.
one song.
Mm,
And because of the song, I was inspired after that to create the title of my podcast, That Bitch Energy.
yes.
And I just feel like it's such a powerful move. It's such a powerful thing. And mind you, I don't feel like that bitch at all times.
Right. Duh.
And that is the that bitch energy life. That will
Mm-hmm.
always be because that bitch energy has ebbs and flows, ups and
Right.
downs,
Mm-hmm.
pain and joy and hardships, and today is easy as fuck all of a sudden. I have no
Yeah.
clue why. And
That's so feminine.
that is so feminine. And that's to me,
Yeah.
that's what that bitch means.
Mm,
And that's, I feel like I've told people the title of my podcast, and I can see my insecurities mirroring through them, where they're like,
mm-hmm.
that's kind of like funny. Why would you, like, almost I could read the room of like the person's mirroring to me my insecurities of, oh girl, you're not good enough to, you're not that bitch to be hosting or to be the host of That Bitch Energy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that energy. And every time I tell someone the title of my podcast, I'm ready for the mirror of what I need that day.
I
Maybe
love
that person's like,
that.
and maybe that person's like, yes, girl, that bitch, yes, you are. And maybe the next day they're like laughing at me because of the title. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that is how I feel today.
Ugh.
It's almost how I even approached them with my podcast is called That Bitch Energy. Did I say it? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, my podcast is this, and my shoulders are up, and I'm like
Yeah.
hiding my face or something, and
Mm,
or did I show up and say, yeah, the title of my podcast is That Bitch Energy. You should listen to it. It's all about how you're walking in the
yeah.
room. It's all about how you're feeling that day, and it's okay that you have the insecurities. You're still that bitch,
That's right.
and how you can find me um, is you can type in That Bitch Energy on Spotify, and you'll see a beautiful, it's all green, everything, because green is my color right now, and it changes every so often.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's yellow, sometimes
Yeah.
it's green, pink,
Hmm.
purple. I think my next color will be cream for some reason, which is interesting.
Hmm.
So you can find me at That Bitch Energy on Spotify. You can find me at That Bitch Energy on Instagram. Or my personal Instagram is spelled at Bianxa .xii, and I post a lot more there than my podcast. But if you want strictly podcast, the That Bitch Energy on Instagram. And yeah, YouTube as well. You can type in at That Bitch Energy podcast and my show will pop up on my YouTube channel and my music. So my music will show up there. My music is on my Instagram. If whatever it is that you're interested in hearing from me, you can find it all on my personal Instagram. And I'm happy to share if anyone has any questions about what I said. And they're like, girl, what are you talking about? You're crazy. I'm happy to explain more. So,
So
um,
good. And definitely, you're one of my favorite people to just tune in and see your stories because you're just fucking doing life. And there's always something so real, so raw. I laugh all the time. And your story today, I was like, that's the energy. Like, you're just chilling, straight up talking about working out, laying on the floor, and we have a podcast later. Like, I love this energy. It's that bitch energy. And you said it so well too, the allowing yourself to have all of the different seasons, all of the moments, riding the waves of life. And that is part of it. And also, so brilliant when you said, I'm ready for the mirror that I need that day. That is so bad, bitch. That is so wise.
bring it
And
in.
yeah, right. And you get to alchemize whatever comes your way because it's a mirror, it's connected, there's a reason for it. And have you heard the condemnation, bitch meaning babe in total control of herself?
Yeah,
Right? So that's what
I
I
need to
think
write
of.
that.
Yeah, just right on your wall there. Yeah, because that's the meaning,
Mhm.
sister, and everything else is just no. Um, and and you really are, and you're shining in all of that, and have so much magic to share, and you're a gift to the world. Can I ask you one more question to close it out? Um,
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited. I'm still like, no, I don't want to end the podcast.
don't leave. Ew, my nails right now, they need to be fixed. Um,
She's
like
still, she's that bitch with no nails or all the
it's
nails.
fine. Yeah. So, my final question for you is one, do you believe that our embodiment can impact the world? And if yes, what do you feel is the importance of that? Why do you feel like our embodiment impacts the world, and how do you want yours to impact this world? And in that, if you could say one thing to this world from your place of embodiment of the world that you want to see, which is what we do here at the Bridge, tell us what that message would be today.
Okay, I'm trying to think of where I should start.
Just a light question.
So, embodiment changing the world. Absolutely. I think every single problem and dark, I shouldn't even say problem, everything that seems to be an obstacle or a challenge that seems so big and so dark and so hard to even understand and know that it's actually happening on the planet right now while we're alive, while we're
Mm,
not dealing with the hardships. I think every single thing that seems impossible to be true is coming from a place of not being embodied. And I feel like if every if if I can do anything, if me and you and whoever's one person gets anything from anything today,
mhm,
this podcast, if you want to take anything from this podcast, I think it's learning to tune in to the body, allowing the body to speak and to
mm,
say what it needs to say to you. And when I say the body, I mean get out of the mind, not allowing the thoughts to control every single aspect, not allowing the ego to just take over, because ultimately the ego, the disembodiment, is what is causing so much pain,
mhm,
torture, trauma, darkness today. And I think, yes, I think as simple as me and you, as simple as one person, one extra person being embodied in their body,
mhm,
in
mm,
touch with it, in their home, in feeling comfortable in their home,
yeah.
the pain and the suffering that we feel starts to just dissolve slowly. And when that dissolves, you give someone else permission to dissolve. And that when they dissolve, they give people in their circle permission to dissolve the pain and the ego and the mind and so I think being embodied is radical. I think being embodied is standing up for love, standing up for peace, standing for being against pain, ultimately, against suffering, standing
Mm-hmm.
against all the things, enter whatever it is that you feel is impossible, that it's reality. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how can this be real? Get in touch with your body and see how you are abandoning yourself, see how you are torturing yourself, see how you are hurting yourself, see how you are colonizing yourself, see how you are colonizing others. And it just all lives in our bodies. And I feel like it starts in our home. And so if you can be, if I can leave with one sentence or like something, it would be, I want to word it beautifully and also simply,
Mm-hmm.
like beautiful and simple, is tune into the body so that the people around you can tune into theirs. And I feel like it might, it's very simple. And I think that it's so powerful to just be in touch with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives someone else permission to let go, to dissolve, to get rid of that shoulder pain they've been holding on to for their whole life. Like, name whatever it is here, like your depression, your anxiety, your toxic addictions, your porn addictions, your whatever, name whatever addictions or self-hate acts you are acting towards yourself, will start to dissolve and become easier to let go of. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just tuning into to our hearts and ourselves and our bodies and our truest selves so that someone else can tune into theirs.
So beautifully said. We have to become the example, the embodiment of love, the world we want to see. It's an inner journey. It starts here. And I'm so grateful for that transmission. I needed to hear that. And you also so effortlessly embody that, by the way, because you have helped me do that even just in this hour. And I'm so grateful for you. And that was such a beautiful conversation. And also love that you brought up green because it's the heart chakra, and the bridge for me symbolizes the heart chakra and the frequency of becoming that love, the heart of humanity. And it's also the bridge between our upper and lower chakras. So all of that feels so symbolic and beautiful. And I also loved hearing that today. So thank you for bringing your heart and your soul and your human and all of the things to this for us to experience and see ourselves in you. And I'm so excited to hear how people receive this, and to just continue watching you shine and getting to connect and be inspired by you. I love you, sister. Thank you so
Mm,
much.
I love you back, and I love that you say I love you because I do too, and
Mm,
that's so special. And if we can all just say I love you and
mhm.
mean it and be love and be there for ourselves with love, more, I think that's a win. I think even just starting with love, self-love, loving your partner, loving your neighbor, those are just wins. And I thank you for showing me that mirror of myself too. Because like
Yeah.
I see in you me and vice versa. And I think I feel that from you as well. So
Yeah,
thanks
for
for being
sure.
the bridge for me.
Aw, my heart. Elsa's the bridge, so you just touched my soul.
Let it
No,
go. Let it go.
you gotta create the world you want to exist in, right? So it happened. I mean, the universe gave me the bridge, and I followed. I was like, yes, ma'am, sir, I got this. But the dreams continue to come, and sometimes they come in ways that we don't expect. But love is the answer, love is the way. Connect to yourself, heal yourself. It's a journey, not a destination. Frickin' enjoy it and connect with amazing people along the way.
Wow, so magical. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Bridge. You are so valued and appreciated here, and I hope it helped bring light, love, clarity, and healing to your journey of remembering who you are. If you'd like to share feedback, have questions, want to collaborate, or request for a specific guest or episode topic, you can email us at the email below. To connect with us on socials or to work with me one-on-one, you can head to the social medias in the description below. If you'd like to donate to support our mission to share love, peace, and unity on this planet, you will find a link for that as well. You can always reach out via email to ask us how you can support what we are currently doing in the world. If there is someone you feel inspired to directly support, please let us know and we will share their story in one of our episodes. Remember, together we are better and truly can do so much. Now it's that time. Go live this new wisdom you received here in your life. Share it, integrate it, pass it on. Your ripples are powerful and needed, and you have a unique way of sharing and being that only you can be. As always, take what resonates for you and leave the rest. You are sovereign. You are the magic wand. You are the bridge to experiencing the world that you want. You are the conductor of your destiny. See it, choose it, speak it, feel it, believe it, know it, and go be it. Remember, it always starts with you. The universe is always on your side, and you are infinite. One love, and we'll see you in the next one.